Hello everybody. To buy a house is every Indian middle class person's dream, and I'm no different. When I first got my job at 22 and after about 3 years of time when I was 25, when it seemed like I had enough money to make the down payment for a dream house, I started looking into my options as well. But as I dug deeper into it, did some market research, and looked at the financial aspect of it all, I realized that it was really not a smart move for me to be buying a house. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you guys all the things that you must look into before even considering a house, and I'm also gonna tell you guys why I did not buy a house at that time. One of the first things you want to do when you decide to invest in a house is to see if you want to go for an apartment or a house. While an apartment has a limited built-up area, which means that you cannot expand your house and add a room if you wanted to in the future. On the other hand, if it is a house that you want to go in for, then in the future, if you decide to add a room somewhere, or if you want to build another house up top and rent it out, then you definitely do have that option. And at 25, even though I really wanted to buy a piece of land and build a house of my own, I was only able to afford an apartment based on the savings that I had and the EMI that I could afford at that time. One of the first things I realized even before looking at houses was the fact that I had to take a giant mortgage to afford the house that I was dreaming about. And also considering the fact that I was only 25 and had been working for only 2 years, I also had little to no savings at all. And because I also came from a middle class family, it meant that if I took that mortgage, I would have to be working for the next 15 to 20 years of my life to repay the mortgage, and that too for a house in a place that was very remote or extreme outskirts of Bangalore. So in Bangalore, a decent 2-bedroom bath and a living room apartment will easily cost about 40 lakh rupees. Apart from the registration charges, which may cost up to 2%, which is 80,000 rupees, stamp charges, which is about 1%, 40,000 rupees, and had I chosen to go see the apartment through a broker, he would charge me an additional 2%, which would lead to about 80,000 rupees as well. And here comes the dreaded down payment, which in India is super high. It is about 20% of your total apartment value, so that would come up to 8 lakhs. So all in all, even to begin with, I would have to have at least 10 lakh rupees in my hand that I'm willing to shell down on this house. And unfortunately, that's just the beginning. It would lead me to making a loan of 42 lakh rupees. And even if I had committed to paying an EMI for 15 solid years, I would end up paying around 41,853 rupees every single month. That is apart from the monthly maintenance of, let us say, 10,000 rupees. And overall, my monthly expenses towards just this house would be around 51,853 rupees. Now this is apart from my monthly expenses of groceries, electricity, water, and any other expenses that I might incur. And this came with a huge set of ambiguity for me. 15 years of mortgage was a huge thing. It meant that I would not be able to quit my job, or I would not be able to accept a transfer, because that would lead me to maintaining 2 different houses. Because at that time I was not even married, the future was looking more and more grim, because in future if I got married to someone and he wanted to buy a house as well and wanted me to pitch in for the mortgage, then I would be completely trapped paying for 2 different mortgages. And also because I was gonna be looking at a 15-year-old mortgage or something crazy like that, I would have to absolutely commit to working for the next 15 years of my life. And the worst case scenario, if I lost the job, that meant that I would also be losing the house. Also because I was going to put in all of my life savings and earnings into this house, it meant that I had literally zero liquidity on hand. If I needed some cash for any emergency, it meant that I would be in big trouble. And of course the value of your house is only going to increase with time, but to sell the house to get some of this cash is not as easy as it seems. Again, to sell a house you might wanna reach out to a real estate agent who would further charge you a 2% commission. Apart from that, you might have to wait for about a year and a half, depending on how soon you'll find someone who is willing to pay you for the price you're asking. And in my life, I have seen a couple of my relatives who have simply given the house at an underpriced value because it was just so hard to sell the house for the value that it really was worth. So instead I decided that I would not spend on buying a house at 25, but I would continue to save further and make smart financial decisions. After setting aside a certain amount of my salary for my monthly expenses, I got a life insurance, which meant that should something happen to me, my parents were very well taken care of. And also because my parents were only aging by the day, I got them a good medical insurance that meant that their health was covered as well. I also started saving a significant chunk of my salary in the form of recurring deposit, fixed deposit and mutual funds towards this house that I still am dreaming about. I also smartly set aside about 10% of my salary into an emergency saving fund. Additionally, I also started saving about 10% of my salary into retirement fund. If you want me to make a video on how I plan my budget, let me know in the comments below and I'll be happy to make one. And thank God for this emergency saving fund that I opened and saved a significant amount of money there. Later, towards the end of my 25th year, I realized that I did not enjoy working as an engineer anymore. I quit my job and changed my profession to being a writer. And of course it wasn't smooth sailing initially, but because I did not have a 15-year lock-in of a home loan, I had the freedom to make my passion my full-time job. And this also gave me some time to work extra hard towards my dream house, and hopefully someday I'll still be able to buy the house of my dreams. And if you are looking to investing in a house, I wish you all a very best of luck. Bye.